when I came to Joburg, to my aunt, the conversation I had with her was that I'm here for the job interview. If this thing does not work out, then I'm going back home. I get there, I meet this dude, we have a conversation, bro, like a 3-hour conversation. So in my head, I'm thinking, I've got this job. And then as I'm about to leave, he goes to me, I can give you this job right now. But I'll tell you this, I don't think you're meant to do this. Because also at that time, I was operating from a point of desperation. So it's like, I'm feeling like I'm running out of time now.
If you already had that personality, like, how did your brain comprehend stuff not going the way you imagined?
Younger me thought I thought I was God's gift to earth. I've calmed down now, you know. Still very confident, but I stopped trying to impress people when I was young. Like, I'll do something and go, that's cool, and keep it moving. So I grew up with that mentality. So now back to what, you know. So when life doesn't work out for me, I'm just like, they just don't get it. I ended up choosing myself. So just started caring more about what I thought about me and decided to create my own path. Molweni, MASONWABE NTLOKO. I am 27 years old. I am a visual artist and designer.
Can you please tell us, like, the journey into becoming an illustrator and all that you do? Like, what steps took place for you to get there?
I think, if I remember well, my journey starts, like my art journey starts, I'm gonna say, grade 2, grade 3, yeah. From seeing other kids just draw these weird cartoons with pointy hair. At the time, I didn't know what Dragon Ball Z was. Also tried it out. My first try, I turned out to be better than everyone. And then from there, started just getting into it a bit more. Then there was competitions. When we were younger, for some weird reason, there was competitions in class, like who can draw better. So I was always better than people in my class. So they always used to take me to like another class, like a grade ahead of me. So started doing that. Obviously started drawing houses, soccer kids, drew animals at some point. Like, there was always weird cars, there was always weird stages per grade. Like, in this grade, this was the in thing. I remember when we used to do houses, like you draw your home, you draw your dream home, obviously using like a ruler, and then we started drawing cars. And then there was a point where we were obsessed with soccer. We started drawing like soccer kids, soccer players. That's when I started getting into the concept of hyperrealism. Then primary was that. I think from a very young age, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Obviously, when you come from a small town, you don't necessarily know what this thing is. You just know that I wanted to draw. Yeah, well, I didn't have access to things like computers when I was younger. Got to high school. Obviously, when you are raised by parents that are academics, they want you to do academic-related things. Like I said, from a very young age, I already was aware of what I wanted to do. But when I spoke to my parents about it, my mom was like, look, I don't mind you doing what you want to do, but I don't want you to change your mind in grade 12 and say, for example, you want to be a doctor and you did like maths lit and history and like with art. I'd rather you take a safer route so that when you get to grade 12 and you still want to do this thing of yours, then sure, but like if you decide you want to be a doctor because you're smart enough to do all these things anyway, so yeah, well. So high school, went to a normal school. When I say, okay, I realized what I consider to be normal is not what you guys consider to be normal. Where I went to school is a township school. We had RTP food. Fridays, we ate umvubo. Banger.
What?
I was umvubo. RTP, like, I went to a government school.
Okay.
So in a government school, what they do is, at break time, they give you food. We had metal plates. We used to eat on metal plates. They did give us spoons, but people stole spoons. Like, there's just like a lot that happened with the spoons. We ended up eating with rulers. Crazy enough, right? So one of the weirdest things, right? Like, you know when you make soup, ne? You use, what's that thing? I don't know what that brand is, but like the green one. Yeah. I never know if it's no or no.
No.
because you know, say I know this.
Oh no. Okay.
Anyways, so our soup was the same, but like it had like carrots and everything, but they were dried. You get what I'm saying? Like I know that sounds weird, but like yeah. But JS Kenjana, I love that school. That's my high school. So went to high school, did normal things like normal people, like physics, maths, geo, life sciences. I was great at them, but I didn't really care, you know. Then went to varsity. In varsity, studied. In my first year, we did something called introductory studies. So introductory studies was basically studying everything within the umbrella of applied design and art. So that means we had a sculpture class. We had sculpture was 3D. We had 2D, which was drawing and painting. We had photography. We had videography. We had, so this is all in your first year. Then your second year, you basically major. We had fashion. We had graphic designing. So that's why I have an understanding of various things outside just what I do. Did that for my first year. For my second year, majored in textile designing. Third year, then I was supposed to finish, didn't finish. Ended up in Joburg. Did an internship for 6 months. After the internship, I thought I had figured it out. Hadn't figured it out. Went broke. Went back home. Stayed at home. So the internship was with a textile company, a design company, probably the biggest in South Africa. Yeah, biggest company in South Africa. We did, like, my interests were not necessarily to learn how to design, to, you know, like I wanted to learn things I knew I didn't know how to do. So I wanted to learn the sort of kind of like the business side of it. So that 6 months acted like as a crash course in how to do a lot of things. So I started understanding the processes that lead to what people see, you know. At some point I was running the website, so the back end of the website. At some point I was the one dealing with wholesale clients. At some point I was the one, like there was just a lot of things that I was doing just to make sure that, you know, the brand was, you know, because at the time I really, like going into that experience, all I wanted to do was contribute. I might have there's a word I'm looking for. I might have overestimated my importance, you know, which is why you get hurt in certain situations, but that's not the conversation we're having right now.
We can have it.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. But yeah, man, I did a few things, learned a lot from that experience, which a lot of is what I apply in what I do today, if that makes any sense.
I'm assuming they don't take you permanently.
So here's what I realized from a very young age, right? I know how to follow instructions, but in my head, which is, you know, it's becoming a reality now, I've always known that I was meant for more than being either someone's right-hand man, which there's nothing wrong with that, you know. It's just that I think I would probably have died if I never explored my ideas. You get what I'm saying? Like for me, I don't think it would be enough for me to say, this is what I'm here for, and it's to make sure that this person's idea works out. You get me? So going into that, I had no intentions of working, you know. Like that's never, even when, after I had finished varsity, because when I was doing the internship, I hadn't finished varsity. I had lied to my parents about, you know, the fact that I was doing correspondence. I didn't do correspondence. I'd go to PE for vibes, you know. I'm like, no, let me just go back, you know. But I never really did that because I was really focused on what I was doing at the time. So did the internship for just to learn, man. Like, I think, especially because this is 2017. So 2017, we are seeing the rise of like young black creatives, but there's a few of them that look like they understand the business side of things, especially when they're doing things independently. And the brand was one of those. So because I knew where I wanted to go, And that, to some degree, was my blueprint at the time. I was like, I need to understand the things that I know for a fact are not what we see on talks, on social media, on interviews. So that was the intention behind that. It wasn't to whack.
So then how did you end up having to go back home?
So after that 6 months, I stayed in Joburg for 6 more months because in my head I thought I had figured things out. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then when I figured, when December came, I got my first collab, my first big collab with Light for like design stuff. I did illustrations. At the time I was illustrating completely different from what I'm doing now. So I'd done illustrations for Light, and at the time they were called Culture Collective. For a Frank Casino documentary that aired on Channel O? Yeah, on Channel O. So it was at Agro Gallery. So there was 3 floors. There was the restaurant-esque floor, then there was the exhibition floor. So I'd done, I think, 11 or 12 illustrations of people who had contributed in Frank Casino's career at the time. Then contributed to, like I did illustrations of that, then we exhibited that. So on the 2nd floor, it was just like the show. Then upstairs, it was the documentary screening. Because I think we'd done that, if I'm not wrong, on a Wednesday, the show itself. Then the documentary was on a screen on Thursday. Did that, made the biggest amount of money I'd made at the time, you know. In life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate for. At the time, I thought that was enough. So going back home, December, I'm thinking to myself, I'm coming back to Joburg. And then I sit and I look at the money that I made. I start realizing that this money is not enough even for, like, you know. So I'm like, you know what? I guess I'm just gonna chill here. Luckily at the time, I became Designing Daba's emerging creative. I was sad though, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I think, remember, back home, I'm the first person to do art-related things, according to my knowledge. And I had ended the year with a bang. It's like, bro, I met different types of people, like, yo, DJ Speed Stars, yo, like, you know, people that at the time, because at the time I was a huge fan of South African hip-hop. So these were people that I used to watch on TV, and like now, it's like, yo, man, great job, you know? So now back home, you're known as that guy, but yo, this dude did 5 things. And like, so it's a weird thing where it's like, everyone's looking at you as like, big bro, and you are just there, you're struggling to even get money for airtime and data. Because at home, there's no Wi-Fi, you know? I remember that year, what album came out? J. Cole's K.O.D. I walked, where I stay at home, like, because I come from a village, but we have a home down at the Lokshin. So I remember K.O.D. had come out, J. Cole's K.O.D. had come out. I walked from a Lokshin to KFC. At that time, they had 500 megabytes of data. Yeah, when I needed to do things like on Instagram and I'd walk to KFC, say data quickly, do my thing. Superspar had data at the time, also had Wi-Fi. Because Wi-Fi wasn't a thing like that back then as at home. So there was 2 places I think that had Wi-Fi. They had 500 megabytes. I think the other one had 250. So that's 750 a day, depending on if you feel like standing outside. Because also you can't be inside because you can't order, you know? Like, you know, yeah, then luckily around that same time, I had applied a year before for like Designing Daba Emerging Creatives. First time I went to Cape Town. So I think that was, because I had something to work towards, that really, you know, calmed the stress and like sadness. Because also, it's like we put so much pressure on ourselves with these things that we want to do, that like you're not realistic about certain things and like timelines and, you know. Then around that time, my mom was even bringing me like documents of, yo, man, you can also go apply for teaching, because, hey. I said, nah, you know what, OG, let me go back to school. So I went back to school to go finish. I went back to PE to go finish. Then things started just, you know, when I had made that decision that I'm going back to school, I remember it was so cool, man. Like, I was one of the few people that could go, yeah, no, nah, Saturday I'm gonna be in Joburg, bro. Like, I'm catching, like, you know, like, at that time, flights were such a big thing that you would take pictures of your, and they just introduced Instagram stories. So you take pictures of your ticket. I didn't do that and post it. I didn't take pictures because I was like, damn. But I take pictures, you know, when you're walking, you know, and then it's like I'll do that. But yeah, like at that time, I'm come back from school. You've just done like an internship with this big brand. Now you're working with like big acts on like directing tours. Because at that time I was working on Shane Eagle's Yellow Tour. So doing like design, creative direction, co-creative direction, and a bit of art direction here and there. And got my first hype cover at that time, shot and designed it. So imagine in university, in PE, you're that person. You're one of the few people that have an iPhone. So it's like, damn, man. Now, do varsity, leave varsity. Luckily at the time, I think my aunt also, because even when I was in Joburg the last time, I was staying with my aunt. So this time around, like my aunt saw like that there was something I was trying to do, you know. At the time, it didn't really make sense because also how my brain works is that I have so many ideas, but at the time I was still struggling to find an umbrella to put all these ideas under, which is what has been happening now. Because it's like, today I'd go, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I don't remember, at the time there was a show called Everyday Struggle. It was on Complex. I used to love that show. And someone said something there, I remember, they were like, yo, just do one thing right, and then everything else is gonna follow, you know? So came to Joburg, when I came to Joburg to my aunt, the conversation I had with her was that, because I had a job interview, was I'm here for the job interview. If this thing does not work out, then I'm going back home. She was like, no, okay, cool. Went to the job interview, met this dude, and white dude with like a weird mohawk, like old dude, probably like 50 something. It was for, was it art director? Junior art director, yeah, it was junior art director. So I get there, I meet this dude, we have a conversation, bro, like a 3-hour conversation. So in my head, I'm thinking, I've got this job. Because there's people waiting, but like me and this dude are having conversations, I'm showing him things I've done, the things I want to do. And then as I'm about to leave, he goes to me, I have one thing to say to you. I can give you this job right now, but I'll tell you this, I don't think you are meant to do this. I think you are meant to, because also at that time I was operating from a point of desperation, because it's like, yo, how old am I at the time? So this is 2019 now? Yeah, 2019, because, yeah, 2019, am I 20, 21, 22? I think I'm 22. I don't know. Yeah, I'm 22, because 2017 I was 21. I'm heading to 23. So it's like, I'm feeling like I'm running out of time now. Yeah, well, and the school I went to indirectly had dubbed me as, like, I was always, from a very young age, the person that everyone felt like was gonna make it. So those things are playing in your head, you know. So it's like, damn, like I felt like I was running out of time, you know. And I've already started doing these things independently. So that's the reason why I ended up applying for jobs. I get an interview, have this conversation with this dude. He ran the company. I think he was either creative director or owner. So he says to me, yo, look, I can give you this job, but I don't think this is what you need, personally. I think you're already on your way to doing the things that you want to do. So why not just do that, you know? And at the time, I hadn't really gotten the idea, not even the idea, but like the reality of me and music are to some degree intertwined was not something that I understood. So for me, it was like, I'm a fan of music, because I'm one of those people who I always say this to people, I hate having music conversations with people, because it's like having a conversation with me like about comic books, like things that I'm really passionate about, I don't like talking about, because I always realize that we are not talking about these things at the same level of either passion or just understanding. So it's like, for example, when we're having a conversation about DC, and someone goes, yeah, the Batman movie. I'm like, yo, we're not having the same conversation. Because me, I'm gonna go, yo, you know, on issue whatnot, this is what happened because I collect comic books. You see, so so I treated my love for music as something completely different. And life kept showing me that. But yo, man, your art and design thing can come here. But I was like, nah. Then eventually, I leave homie's place, and he says to me, "Nah, if this thing does not work out, like I leave the play, the interview." He says to me, "Yeah, if this thing doesn't work out, you try your own thing. You can call me. Here's my number." I leave, go home, design a company logo for a company. I'd always been obsessed with the word create, so I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'll call my company Create. When I'm about to go do the registration, before all of that. Because also, that's another lie that people make, where it's like, no, I had my company and then I registered it. You do these things as you go. So I got home. The one thing I know how to do is design. I designed the logo. The logo was simple. It was a box. Then it was Create on the side, because Create outside the box. I thought it was cool at that time. I thought it was fire. I still think it's one of the greatest logos ever made, though. So it was just a simple logo. I did my whole CI, everything. I don't even know what this company is gonna do. I just know, like after that Bruce said that thing, I said, you know what, I'm destined for greatness. I do my thing. We have a short conversation. I do my thing. After that, I go to the tattoo parlor. I go get that tattooed on my arm. And I'm like, you know what, there's no turning back now. Fast forward, someone sends something, yo, Universal's looking for like a graphic designer, I guess. Send your portfolio to this person. At the time, my Instagram was banging. I was flying on my Instagram. I was doing a lot of cool things, So what I did is I just sent the Instagram link. Also, my problem was, younger me thought I was God's gift to earth. I've calmed down now. Still very confident, but I know how to, but also apparently it's not how I speak, it's just who I am. So like when I walk into a place, it's either, also I know, like even from a very young age, I've always known, but either you like me or you don't like me. Sometimes I can convert you because you be like, oh, great guy, like nice guy, this one. But like most of the times, everyone always looks at me and goes, yo,
so I mean, like, if you already had that personality, like, how did your brain comprehend stuff not going the way you imagined?
Oh, they just don't get it.
Oh, that's...
You have to understand. Here's my thing, right? So, it's not a sad story, but a lot of people, when I say this, think it's a sad story. So when I was younger, I was never chosen. So when I say that, I mean, I was never anyone's favorite anything. So my grandma had her favorite, I'm her favorite grandchild now, because, as you grow up, you start being responsible. It's like, yo, this is a stand-up guy. He's not bad, So because of being reliable, I've become that, and being interested in learning things that other people are not interested in, being interested in certain foods, because that's what means a lot to grandparents. So so when I was younger, I wasn't anyone's favorite nephew. I remember this one time in class, this brood, who was my best friend in my head, they said we must write down who your best friend is or something like that. Bro, luckily this Bruce sits I think 2 rows before me. So he gets up, there's a dude here who just got here. The brood, love that dude, But at the time, I didn't understand how can I put this? I didn't understand that you can. I thought the concept of love was, if I love you and you love me, yidro. I don't know that you can love someone more than they love you, or that person can love you more than you love them. So, for example, my brother thinks I'm his best friend. I'm like, I like you, but we're not best friends now. But I know that. But in his head, he thinks, best friend. I'm like, nah, you're my brother. You're like one of my favorite people of all time. But I don't know if best friend, So at the time, I didn't understand that, So anyways, so he gets up. They're like, yo, who's your best friend? He probably doesn't remember this, by the way, the person I'm talking about. Hey, he goes, yo, and the bro he's saying is his best friend. This nigga just got here. Like, he just got here. Like, he just got here a month, 2 months ago, and this is your best friend. Bro, our moms are teachers. Like, I know your mom, you know my mom. Like, we grew up together. So, like, how am I not your... So now, imagine, luckily at the time, I think we still use pencils, or I probably said rubber, or I said, I don't know. And then I was like, yo, there was a brood, he passed away now, but like from my village, Ubanel. I'm like, so he says that, it hurt me. But like I was like, yo, you know what, I can't embarrass myself right now. Cause like, how am I not his best friend and he's my best friend? Everyone's gonna go, you're weird, you know? Also when I was younger, everyone, in my head, I understood that people found me a bit odd as a person. Not necessarily like weird, but like it was always like, he's kind of different, you know? So, quick job. I said, yo, Banele. And like I said, passed away now, but like he was a friend of mine from back home, like as Lalin. But like we were cool, but like I didn't consider him my best friend. So sure. So as soon as that happened, I quickly, so I'm like, yeah, no, he's back home, you know? Like as Lalin. I'm like, oh, okay, you know? So where I'm going with this is like even like my mom raised me, my brother, my sister, but like with other people. There was a point at home where there was like 11 of us. Yeah. Well, so when that happens, okay, your biological mom can't show you or express to you the love she has for you because everything needs to feel equal in the household. So you don't get attention from anywhere. So I didn't get that. So I think I ended up choosing myself. So just started just caring more about what I thought about me, and like I stopped trying to impress people when I was young. Like, well, you know when you're a kid, it's like you do a weird backflip. Just, you see what I just did? I didn't do stuff like that, you know? Like I just was like, I'll do something and go, that's cool, and keep it moving. So I grew up with that mentality. So now back to what, you know. So when life doesn't work out for me, I'm just like, they just don't get it. Like that's why I'm not a fan of competitions, because I understand that with competitions, if you compete in something, sometimes they already know who's going to win. They have a criteria of who's going to win. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough just because I don't win, you know? So that's why I just decided to create my own path, you see? So if these things happen, I don't take them personally. When I was younger, well, probably like, 3 years ago, I was very angry. So everyone who I felt like did me wrong, I was like, your day is coming, you know? But now I understand that the anger that got you where you are is not strong enough sometimes to get you to where you want to go. When people don't choose you, it's not because they hate, like if it made financial sense, you know, it's just that maybe they just might not see your vision, and that's okay too, you know. A lot of the things that I'm doing are firsts of their kind. So no one lives in my head, and no one has the foresight that I have about my dreams. So now it's not personal anymore, you know. At first it was personal, because also remember my brand is my name. So when someone said, yeah, no, hey, this MASONWABE rak, I'd go, yo, so you're saying, fuck my mother? I said, bro. You see, but now it's at a point where it's like, hey man, like, I don't like everything, so I can expect everyone to like what I do, you know. So Universal basically becomes my first client. And then when I get there, I have a meeting with this dude called Temba. Temba, and he was head of A&R and assistant Togo. So I get there, they have this brief for me. They're like, yo, there's this artist. At the time, Amapiano was coming in. Like, it was, like, at the time, the only Amapiano album that they had was a compilation album. I think the same compilation album where Kabza Sheshageza was in. Like, Amapiano volume something. Yeah, that was the only album on DSPs at the time. So when I had that conversation, they were pushing to get this Amapiano album out, and it being the first Amapiano album. So this is top of 2019? Yeah, top of 2019. The artist was, at the time, I think he was just like a legendary DJ in like the hoods around Joburg, DJ Stoke. So we had this album called Amapiano Movement Volume 1, and they wanted me to work on that. We worked on it. It looked great, you know. And they loved it so much that they were like, yo, there's this other project that we've been working on, but we've been trying out different designers, but like designers don't seem to get what we're trying to do. The name of the project was Lady Zamar's last album, Monarch. So people couldn't get, she wanted this thing of, she wanted neon. Like she wanted Monarch to be written in neon, but like people didn't know how to do it. So the thing with me at that time, I think even now, but like now obviously like, if you'd ask me if I can do something, I'd say yes, even if I don't know how to do it. And then I learn, I get home. YouTube is the greatest university in the world. So I get home, I'm like, how to sit there, go through everything, and then figure it out. So that's how I figured out how to do like neon stuff. Like you find the font that you need, then and like there's a process. But it's not like a crazy process though. I remember at that time I started even doing motion graphics because they asked me, can you do motion graphics? I said, yeah. I couldn't do motion graphics. So after that, started working on a few more projects. You know, at some point in my life, I did a gospel album. I'll tell you this, right? The craziest thing is, I respect gospel designers. Like, when you look at those things, they look whack, right? But because gospel musicians are so on brand, that's what they want. You coming in with this clean stuff, we are going to use Fatura as a font. They don't want that, brother. She wanted to just sit, act like she was praying, eyes closed, and there's a dove coming out, there's a cross, you know? The more bling bling and vavavoom, the better. It hurt me so much, because I was like, yo, guys, I am God's gift to South African music design. Let me show you, because at the time when I had come in, they were doing that, they used to do this, there were overlays. Like one of the overlays was like, it looked like they took a paper and they shawanisad it, and then, you know, and then another one was like an old CD. Like that's, and I hated those things, because I'm a fan of clean things. So I was fighting for I'm trying to show them how good I am. That's when I started learning what is referred to as creative restraint. It's not, so, and I see this with a lot of people. Like, even when I have conversations with people, like, people are still trying to get into the industry, just in general, it's like, for example, when you go to, like, Brahm, no disrespect to kids in Brahm, but you see that they love fashion, but the problem with them is that there's 5 outfits in one outfit. It's like, yo, if you could just restrain your creativity and know what not to do, because knowing what to do is the easiest thing. Knowing what not to do is the, you know, I think the hardest thing that a lot of people can't learn. So like, people don't have creative restraint. So it's like they have 5 ideas and all those ideas will be fit into one, you know? So that's when I learned that, but yo man, the simpler the better, because I wanted to show them my Photoshop skills. Like, yo, I can make you fly, bro. Yo, I can do this. And it's like, dude, it's simple, this thing. This is a new artist. The audience needs to get familiar with him. So when someone was looking at this thing on their DSPs, at the time Musica was still open, I remember when I went to go buy the first CD I designed, one of the happiest days of my life. Like I was telling the kitchen, like, yo, I designed this. She had no idea what it meant. And I used to add my name like at the back with that property of Universal 2020, like at the bottom I'll say, creative direction and design by MASONWABE NTLOKO. I remember showing my mom that, I'm like, yo, look, bah, you know. Anyways, did a few more projects after that. And then at the same time, I think I realized the reality that when people ask me why I stopped like doing stuff in the music industry, I realized one thing. I wouldn't say, I don't know, from my perspective, I loved the music more than the musicians did. So what I wanted for the music, what I wanted for careers, is not what they saw. For them, it was, if marketing at a label says this is what we do, this is not even like just a universal conversation, this is an overall conversation, which I think is the problem with South African music, is that someone will say, for example, I am the Kanye West of South Africa, but it's like, you don't put enough effort in things outside the music that make the music. You don't put enough effort to get to a Kanye West level. You know, you don't put enough effort to get to a Drake level. you think it's just about the music. So that's the problem I kept facing, because I was like, this is the idea, I think, this is what I think we should do, this is how I think this should happen. So facing those resistances, I just then decided that, I think I'm gonna follow my dreams. So at the time, so the way I do my work now, I've always been scribbling with like a pen, right? And I went to school for textile designing, so we learned how to do prints. So textile prints, and I had this print that I really liked, but didn't know what to do with it. Because if you see the print that I do now, on my classwork books when I was young, it's there. It's something that I've carried through. And then when I went to varsity, I sort of started like refining certain things, and understanding texture, which is what I think textiles taught me application. It also taught me just the understanding of materials, surfaces, textures, and which is what informs a lot of what I do today. So luckily around that time, there's a Yogi Sip competition. I enter the competition, I win. So when you won, it meant you were going to design Yogi Sip bottles, which is how I think a lot of people got introduced to me. But yo, MASONWABE Brian Yogi Sip, So before, like when they announced that I had won, now, because I had submitted illustrations that no one else, I'd never put out the illustrations, but I had submitted them for the competition. So obviously when you look at a competition, you're looking at who would be the best person to, like whose work would be best to apply on like packaging. And when they saw that, they're like, yo, this would be great. But the conversation that we then had was, but this is not what people know you for. So now this is around August 2019, and the Yogi Sip thing is coming out June the following year. So from that day, I went home, posted my first ever illustration online with like the zigzags, the scribbling. So I just kept posting to a point where when that had come out, people were already familiar with my work, because I was just posting random things, nothing like doing wallpapers. So when I say like phone wallpapers, we transfer, if you want the wallpaper, download it here, like just to get the work out there so that when this thing drops, you are able to look at it. At the time, I didn't even have my own font, so I just downloaded a font somewhere. That was my official. So even with, if you look at the Yogi Sip designs, if you look at it at the back, that's not the MASONWABE NTLOKO font. It was just the font that, because I was scribbling, I looked for a font that looked like a handwriting. And people would ask, yo, is this your handwriting? I'm like, yeah. It was not. It was not my handwriting. Then I think after that, I'm still doing the music industry things, but I'm slowly focusing on the MASONWABE NTLOKO brand, but at the time it's not really making money, because I wasn't interested in like selling prints, if that makes any sense. So fast forward, I get an opportunity to do a Markham collab, but as I'm doing that, I'm already in conversations, previous year. So this is end of 2019. I have a conversation with the Heirloom people. I just tweeted, but yo, I'd love to make rugs. It was just like a random idea that I had, because I always felt like, at the time, not always, but like at the time, a lot of people were creating nice artworks, but for me, I was like, I wanted to create things that people can experience. So I don't want people to have to go to a place to experience what I do. I want you to be able to live with it. I want, when you have a child, you know how like your child will go, this is a jacket that my grandma gave me. Like I want to create those things that matter to people so much that it's part of what the family is, like it's part of the family story, sorry. So created those things, like that was my idea. So I was like, yo, the best thing to do right now is that everyone's doing a clothing brand, everyone's doing all of these things, but I need something that's going to be my entry point that I feel like is going to be strong. And rugs was something that just came out. Like even when I tweeted it, I didn't think really it was good. I was going to do it at the time. And then a friend of mine was like, yo, I know this company called Heeelang. They do brand, like they do rugs. They can do a collab with you. We had a conversation. They didn't see the vision at the beginning. They want me to do a normal rug. Now they'll say they did, but you know. They didn't have faith in it as much, you know, but they saw it. Like, you know, when it's like, yo, I guess, I don't think there's a lot of us also were approaching them at the time. Because I'm not one of those people who believe that I don't chase, I attract. I chase, you know. At times, the chase, like, what I've learned is that the energy that I put out in the world is never, it's never for nothing. It might not pay off right now, but that one person, say for example, that I sent my portfolio to 4 years ago, now they're at a better position. They're like, oh man, there was that thing that I had liked, but I wasn't in power at that time, but now I can, you know. So that's usually what happens with me. That's my belief, you know. So right before the heirloom rugs drop, I get the Markham opportunity. We go to Cape Town, design the stuff. It drops, becomes a big thing. Then shortly after that, the heirloom rug, like everything was just back to back to back to back, you know, like that 1 year. So that drops, this, you know. And then after that, this is what, 2020? Yeah, everything drops 2020. No, Yogi Sip happens 2020. Everything happens 2021, sorry, yeah. So 2021, that happens. Now I'm also figuring out how this business thing is gonna work. And then after that, the urge to paint and draw again comes back. I'm like, you know, I think it would be nice, you know. Then I do another rug drop, same year, because like, also when that happened, I didn't expect that to sell out, you know. Like when I say that, like, my knowing that I'm good at what I do is not attached to how people feel about what I do. It's a thing of, there's things that the world will never get to see. Because I'm like, I did this one for me. I think it's fire, and that's it. So because of things like that, I've detached my expectations in, like when I do something, I don't expect everyone to love it, but also I also understand that support is different, you know. But yeah, it's just, then after that, you know, like the brand started getting a bit stronger. Now I'm meeting people, yo, dog, I love your work, you know. Then fast forward, 2022, we do another rug drop. I do my first rug show. I do, yeah, like, and then top of the year, I do my first exhibition of of paintings, because I started painting Feb last year. So this is 2022. I started painting. Top of 2023, I did my first independent show, and yeah, I tried to summarize it. There's a lot that happened in between, you know.
Biggest takeaway from your 20s or your journey?
A lot of what we do. I'm gonna say this generation. When I say this generation, I mean everyone, either in their, I would even say like from 35 going down to like kids in varsity high school. You know, the difference between us and our parents is that our parents were people of faith. So the reason why we're so depressed, we're so sad with all of these things is because we blame ourselves for everything that goes wrong in our lives. And for them, I've seen this even with my mom. My mom, if something doesn't work out, she'll just say, no, it was by God's decision or God's grace even that this thing did not work out, because there's a better opportunity coming for me. Yeah. So for us, what happens is that we look at every single thing and we blame ourselves for it. So it's like, this did not happen because I'm not good enough. This did not happen, you know? Like, if you think about it, our parents just say, oh no, check it, you know? Not that it doesn't hurt them, but like, they start understanding that there's a bigger power that you can rely on. So I think if you're going to get into the creative industry or whatever, find your anchor, your source of, because really all we have is hope, you know. You just hope this thing's gonna work out. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, it's a tricky one, you know. You always just hope and pray that these things work out. But like, though that the beauty in that is that you don't beat yourself up when it doesn't work out. You also just start understanding that you don't have control of a lot of things, you know. So that's one. Find an anchor, spiritual anchor. Could be Jesus Christ, it could be Allah, it could be Kamata, it could be whatever. Like, I'm open to people believing in whatever they believe in, you know. I'm not one of those people who believe that my way is the right way, you know. I think if this is right, this is right, this is right, this is right, they can all coexist. Because there's only one God, it's just we have different ways of looking at these things, you know. Do what works for you, you know. I think respect is, a lot of what I've received in my life is literally from just, because also my respecting people is not I respect you because I'm gonna get something from you. It's just respect in general. Like, I have the most random conversations with random people. Like, you'll find me sitting next to like some security guard or like the guys who do the car thing, and I'm finding out who they are, where they, like, so that thing I feel like has taken me so far, you know, like I said, without me intending for it to take me so far. Like, I remember even when I was at Res, I would get away with everything off of just the fact that it started with a hi, how you doing? And then from there, it's like, you acknowledge people as human beings. So don't acknowledge people that you feel like are at your level or a level that you aspire to be at as human beings. Those are not the only human beings in the world. People that you feel like are lesser than you. I think for me, because I grew up in a small town, your friend's mom was the lady who cleans so-and-so's, you know, like the ladies who used to cook, for example, at my school, one of them was my neighbor. So I never looked at people as people who are either beneath or above me, you know. I've always just looked at people as people. So I'll always treat everyone with respect, and I think that has taken me far, you know. And I think just trust your shit, man, you know. Like, trust that no one's in your head. So no one's gonna understand who you are, where you come from, and all these things. And no one's gonna understand where your journey is going. You're the only one who sees it. So you can't necessarily depend on other people to see it before you move. So sometimes you're gonna have to move blindly. You know, I think a lot of what I've done has been that. You know, I basically came into the industry without a cosign. I don't have any OGs. I don't have any mentors. Like, not that I don't want them, you know, but like, even when I have conversations with people, sometimes people don't believe or see where I'm trying to go with this. And that's okay, but it doesn't mean it's not gonna work. And my life has always been about, my job is not to prove you right, it's to prove myself. It's not to prove you wrong, it's to prove myself right. So, yeah.
I don't know your other name. Fanny?
Ifani, as in my surname is.
Oh, Ifani. I thought you were saying MASONWABE
It feels weird for me to say, my name is MASONWABE NTLOKO.
I was so confused.
Every time I introduce myself,
Why didn't I know who the second
oh
name?
no, I'm like a dog, I have one name.
Me too.
Period. See?